We're at halftime of the Grapevine Faith Legacy Christian Game, which means it's time for our Stories of Faith, which allows us the opportunity to highlight the amazing people here at Grapevine Faith Christian School and their stories. And this week, I'm excited to sit down with senior Jackson Pearce to tell his story of faith. So, Jackson, brother, I appreciate the time, man.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
You bet. Well, I will tell you, I have not formally met Jackson until today, but I've seen him around campus a lot, and you can't miss him. He's one of the tallest, if not the tallest, students at Grapevine Faith. And he's also one of the most spirited. And Jackson, we'll get into some of the things that you're involved in here at school. But first, let's just start with an introduction to who you are. Tell us about you, how long you've been at Faith, a little bit about your family.
Okay, yeah. My name is Jackson Pearce. I'm my parents' only child. I've been at Faith for 3.5 years. I transferred from Covenant Christian along with some of my other friends who came over here. And I'm a part of the flag team. Some of y'all see on the broadcast. I'm also on the basketball team here at Faith. Part of Student Congress, help lead in any way I can. So, yeah, just do all the little things. That's what I try to do.
You're on chapel band
Oh,
as
yes,
well?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, until this past week, the only game that you could see Jackson at, because, this coming week, we'll talk about the start of the basketball season, but the only game you could see him at was the football games, as he mentioned. He's on the flag crew. He's also emceed a few of the pep rallies. So, I mean, you clearly got school spirit, and you've only been here 3.5 years, but how did you get into that, kind of the spirit side of things, really kind of leading out front?
Well, I feel like Faith is just a school where you can really embrace that side of things. There aren't really people who are going to judge you for really just like giving your all in the school spirit side of things. I mean, everyone just kind of comes together, has fun. So it's a really good opportunity where you can just like be yourself and like be loud, be proud of your school, kind of like your nation too. I mean, like it's kind of like that. So just kind of like that school spirit thing. It's good to like just, I guess, be a part of it. And it's kind of like a pride you can take in it, kind of like patriotism, but for faith. Yeah. Faith patriotism, Lion Nation. Yeah.
I love it. Well, for a lot of like other sport athletes, and by that I mean like, non-football players at a lot of schools, they don't even show up at football games, right? They only show up to their games. But I don't see that here at Faith. I see a lot of, whether it's the guys or the gals, you guys support the girls basketball teams, show up at their soccer games, etc. You're obviously, we talked about, showing up for the football games. What drives that here at Faith?
I mean, we have this thing called the Woo Crew. We make it loud and proud. We got T-shirts. We'll bring out food sometimes. Just make it a fun environment for everyone. I feel like that's something that's very important. Whether you're like a freshman or a senior or even alumni come to the game still because of the Woo Crew. I mean, it's just a very welcoming environment. Like, I've been talking to some freshmen and some younger kids who are just like seeing me and the guys running the flags and just doing all the cheers and stuff. And they're like, man, I want to do that when I'm in high school. So it's a really cool environment and a very welcoming environment where like we kind of just make all these like sporting events like real events to where you can like have a blast and like really make it a memorable thing for you and your peers.
I love that. I love that you guys are kind of setting that standard for the younger guys coming up. They want to be a part of something like that. That's so cool. Well, let's talk about the obvious. You play basketball. I mean, you're 6'5". I'm assuming you haven't been 6'5" your whole life. So is that a sport that you played your entire life, or did you when you hit a growth spurt, you kind of got into it? How did you get into basketball?
Yeah, so my dad, he really I've always been kind of the tallest kid around. I was 6 foot in 7th grade.
Wow.
So I've just kind of been drawn to it, and my dad always like grew up telling me about like Wilt Chamberlain and stuff, and Larry Bird. He's a real old school guy, and so we would just go in the driveway, shoot hoops and stuff. But it's always just been a passion of mine. I feel like basketball and sports in general is more than just like a game. It's a way where you can like use it as a platform to reach people, make new relationships, and also tell people about Christ and be an image bearer for him in that sport. Honoring him on the floor and honoring him off the floor with your actions and your words. And I feel like it's just a good platform that I can use because of my physical gifts and also some of my like spiritual gifts, whether it be communication and just like exuberance, joy. That's some of the things that Coach Saman really values here is choosing joy every day. And I feel like that's really what helped me stay in it, because there have been days where it's been hard.
Sure.
If you ask any athlete, there are days where you don't feel like getting up and choosing joy every day. But I feel like that's what makes our program so special. Those days, he recognizes that those days will happen, but he gives you the tools to equip yourself to combat those days and kind of push through it. So.
Well, it's a perfect segue. One of my interviews last year on Stories of Faith was with the great Matt Seaman,
Mm.
and as a Baylor alumni, I knew exactly who Coach Seaman was when I got here, when our family got here. Now, neither one of my boys play basketball, but I knew very quickly that Coach Seaman was not only serious; he's very serious about winning basketball games. He's also very serious about developing young men to be great Christian young men, great husbands, great fathers one day. So, tell us what it's like to play for the great Matt Seaman.
I mean, yeah, it's an honor, like I've said. I think you hit the nail on the head with that. He knows the importance of winning, but he also knows the importance of building us up as people. He makes sure that it takes time away from our days to just build us up and kind of show us the way to act. He's very open with us and real with like some of the stuff that he's dealt with, which kind of like makes it where it's like more like a wow, I can really relate with this guy, and not just like he's kind of like tearing me down or like he's like thinks like he's way higher than me or anything.
Yeah.
But which I think is his humility is a gift that he definitely has, which helps us be coachable players and him coach us. Um, it's also fun. He makes it fun every day. I mean, we're running and gunning. We're the run and gun Faith Lions. That's what we're known for. So we'll get shots up, run the floor, and this year we're going to be dunking a whole lot. So got a lot of lob plays. It'll be fast, fast pace. You're going to have highlights like every 2 plays probably.
I love it.
So it'll be fun. Don't just show out to the football games. We'll plug. Basketball
Yes.
games are fun too.
Yes.
So
We'll give additional plugs here in just a second
Yeah.
for that for sure. Well, I've asked just about everybody I've interviewed this year, Jackson, this question, and that is, from where you are as a senior here in high school, a student, what do you think is the biggest challenge that high school students are facing today in this broken world that we live in?
I mean, I feel like it's that very thing. We do live in a broken world. I think, especially with the public school system, you don't really have a platform to talk about your faith. The good thing that's come up is like FCAs and stuff like that, which we do have here at Faith, which I help with. So
Another thing on
yeah. But just like I think nowadays people are becoming comfortable with just going through the motions and just like being a student. I feel like that's what makes Faith so special. Kind of like I said, people want to be involved. But if you look around, I mean, there isn't really a lot of involvement. People just sit home on like game days or something. Won't really care about stuff unless they're like specifically on a team or anything. And I feel like that's something that's really kind of been happening recently. That's kind of sad to see. But I think there's definitely ways that we can combat it. And I think Faith does a good job at it. Just bringing the involvement level up. So, yeah.
Well, I know that your faith is very important to you. You've mentioned it a few times. You're very active on the chapel team, chapel band, and also with FCA, as you mentioned. But what does a relationship with Christ mean to you?
I think first and foremost, realizing that nothing I can do can get me to heaven. Only Jesus' sacrifice for me on the cross and for everyone else. Also realizing that because of that, I am no higher than anyone. Everyone has received that gift. It's just about what you choose to do with that gift and how you choose to show other people that gift. I feel like the greatest commandment is go out and make disciples. I mean, that's what I try and live my life after. I mean, we'll probably get onto it later, but that's what I want to do, like kind of after high school too. That's very important to me. Just being an image bearer, kind of like I've said, in the way you act. I feel like because Christ is in you, it will help you act a certain way, and it'll change your desires. That's one thing that we've talked about in our Bible studies a lot recently, is letting God change your desires and not focusing on the desires of this world, and realizing that if you truly have Him, then He will help change your desires. So I think a relationship with Christ is probably the most important thing a man can have in his life, because it'll shape his whole life. So
Yeah, that's a good word, man. That's a good encouragement. Let me ask you this, Jackson. What's your message to young people today? Because I mean, attending a private Christian school is amazing, and it does provide opportunities and resources for students and families here. But it's not church, and I mean, kids still have to make. You talked about they have to make that desire to choose to follow Christ and to chase after Him every day. So what's your message to your peers and kind of this generation?
Yeah, I mean, go out and get involved. If you're more on the shy side, I mean, get like a group of 2 guys and every Wednesday go to each other's houses and read the Bible. Just grow closer together and grow closer to God. Find a youth group, small group at your church. Attend it regularly. Just let the Lord pour into you. Listen to your parents. It may be hard for the youth to hear that, but they're wise. They've been here a long time, and especially if you go to faith, a lot of them put you here for a reason. And if you listen to them, they have a lot of wisdom to say, especially about the Lord and about faith as a whole, not the school, but faith with Jesus. So be involved at your church, be involved with your friends, and also be involved with your family. So.
Well, it's crazy to think that Christmas Day is literally 2 months away from today when we're doing this interview. But 5 months after that, it's graduation. So you kind of alluded to a while ago. Tell us what your plans are after you graduate.
So I plan on going to either Oklahoma University or a college in Colorado. And I plan on getting my master's in education. I want to be a teacher. Wow. So I feel like that's what God's called me to do. Go to those more broken environments and be a light to those people. Just because of the way that teachers, especially of faith, have poured into me, and what I do with my youth group, seeing those kids' faces light up when I see them and I teach about God. I feel like it's just a really good outlet, and an outlet that isn't really used and isn't really seen that much and isn't really appreciated that much. But I feel like it's the outlet that God's called me to do, and that's what I want to do. I want to teach and coach basketball when I graduate and go out and get a job in the real world, and spread God's word first and foremost.
Wow, man, that's awesome. We need more men who are passionate about Christ to speak into those younger kids. So that's super exciting. So a lot of times, Jackson, and this will be on the Faith YouTube channel. There'll be prospective families who will watch this that are looking for a private Christian school. What would your message to those parents and to those kids that are looking at maybe looking at faith potentially as a place to bring their family?
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about this school. I've been at other private schools during my school time, I guess, and the workload has been really hard, or they haven't really focused on faith as much and your actual journey with Christ. But I feel like faith is like a perfect balance of social, school, and growing your faith. You have all the opportunities to be whoever you want and to do whatever you want here. The teachers are open to talk. Some of my greatest spiritual mentors are the teachers here, which I think is one of the biggest pluses. All these teachers have so much experience. I think they said our whole Bible department has like 25 plus years, and like math, everything. Like they're all teachers who want to be here for a reason, and they've been doing this. So that's, I think, the main draw. And the second draw is that everyone here is like a family. When we say like it's a faith family, like we're not joking. It's not just like talk. Like we actually are a faith family. Like everyone here is so welcoming. I mean, if you meet someone new, you get a firm, strong handshake and a smile, and just like I feel like if I wasn't here, I wouldn't be the man who I am today, and the man who wants to strive for God more, and the man who can grow even more and realizes that. So I feel like if you do come to faith, then you won't regret it because of those things.
Well, Grapevine Faith Christian School is unique and it's different because of amazing faculty, staff, teachers, parents, and students. Students like Jackson Pearce. So if you or your family would like more information, please visit us at grapevinefaith.com or call to schedule a campus visit. Jackson, man, I'm so proud of you and your stand for Christ. And man, my prayer is that God just continues to use you to reach your peers and that younger generation that you feel called to. Man, I'm just so thankful for your time and the ability to tell your story of faith. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, the varsity boys basketball team, we mentioned this earlier, they open their season on the road at JP2 tomorrow, October 22nd at 1 p.m. Their first home game is Thursday, November 2nd at 7:30 right here at Grapevine Faith. So be sure to come out and support the boys and the girls basketball programs this season. That's Jackson Pearce on this week's Stories of Faith. The second half of your Grapevine Faith Lions and Legacy Christian Eagles is coming up next here on the Grapevine Faith Sports Network.